All right, you guys, welcome to Real Estate Why. This is a short course for, young adults who are under the age of 30. And what we're going to talk about, real brief, is why you should think about investing in real estate. I know, I know TikTok dancers and Instagram reels, which are like, I don't know what, 3 minutes of maybe a little advice, are telling you don't buy real estate, invest in crypto or invest in stock or just don't invest, just day trade all morning and then party all night. That might be cool for now when you're young and sexy and you have very few needs. But later in your life is when you're going to wish you had listened to Auntie Teresa. Yeah, you can call me that for today, but never again. Today, we're going to talk about 5 important things for you to consider: the pros of investing in real estate, the cons, because there are some, the costs, the requirements, and how to get started should you decide to one day, if not today, embark on this journey. I can trust, you can trust and believe this. Look, I'm talking from experience. Yes, yes, there was a day when I was young and fancy free, but boy, am I glad I made an investment in real estate, saved my financials as I matured in life. My name is Teresa Mack. I'm the CEO and a broker associate for Pacific Playa Realty. We are an independent brokerage here in Los Angeles, California. Yep, one of the most expensive markets to ever buy real estate in. I have 3 young adults, all under the age of 30, and I've been talking to them about investing in real estate, as you can imagine, since they were little teeny kids. They are now finally taking the leap. So, no, you don't have to be ready right now. You can get ready, and I will help you do that if you like, or I can direct you to people who are closer to you that can help you. But what's important is that you definitely seriously consider buying real estate while you're young, because that gives you time to let your money and your asset work for you. That's the big difference. I inherited some property from my dad. He died very young and unexpectedly. That can happen to any of us. So it's also important that you understand the power of real estate, even if you don't buy it, because you might inherit it. And if you do, it's important that you take the steps to preserve it so that it's there for you when you're not young, sexy, and fancy free like you are right now, under 30. I always tell my youngest clients, hey, you're not buying real estate just because you don't want to rent. I mean, that's a good reason, right? It's a good reason not to support your landlord over yourself. But you're buying real estate because in another decade, you're going to be in the midst of a lot of other things. You might have kids, you might have a spouse, you might be taking care of somebody like me, and you're going to appreciate having an asset that's worked for you for those 10 years without you even thinking about it, because the real estate market naturally appreciates. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. I am the CEO of Pacific Playa Realty. That means that I teach and train other agents. I recruit them. I talk to clients. I've done hundreds and hundreds of transactions. I've seen them go awry and I've seen them stay on course. And I know how to make a transaction a relatively smooth experience for a client. I have 20 years of experience as a real estate broker, but I was an attorney and a CPA before that. So I know a little bit about this business. Let's get right to it. The pros, the pluses of investing in real estate. The biggest one is appreciation over time. It is as simple as that. If you buy real estate today and if you hold on to it for a decade, look, you're going to live under something. The roof might as well belong to you. If you take care of it for a 10-year period of time, history has proven that the value will more likely than not be up. You will have gained value in the place where you live without you doing anything extra other than paying your mortgage. You're going to pay somebody, like I said, so why not pay yourself if you can? It is also a great investment. When we bought our very first teeny weeny condo in Culver City on the ground floor across from a park, not the most desirable place to be at that time, because that was decades ago. It was so small we couldn't even live in it. We had to rent it to a friend who was single, and we rented around the corner for 5 years. But guess what? At the end of those 5 years, we had been working, like slaves for our employer. We had been saving as much as we could after we paid all of our bills, paid our taxes, had a little young fun, And still, we were not able to save as much as that condominium had appreciated in value in just 5 years. Now, granted, we bought at a good time in the market and the market was continuing to trend up. We might have had to wait a little longer if we wanted to get the same effect if we bought in a different market, but we would have just had to be patient. Just continue to rent to our friend while we worked, lived our lives, saved what little bit of money we could. Guess what? We turned around 5 years later, wait for it, and our condo was worth $75,000 more. There is no way that we could have saved $75,000 from our meager earnings. So we took that money and we bought our very first house in a really nice neighborhood. It wasn't a huge house. It wasn't fixed up. It was our second step house. But we were able to do that not because we saved a lot, not because we won the lotto, not because we played with some fantasy football thing or, did some quick fix, but because we just used our money, the little bit of money that we had smartly to buy that first piece of real estate. Getting started is everything to getting appreciation. And real estate is a great investment for that. And it can also generate income if you choose to rent it out. Now, today you have more options than any because you can not only buy a small house on a big lot and build something else for somebody else to rent so you can live there too, but you can also Airbnb, you can short term rent. There are just a myriad of opportunities that we didn't even have to monetize our real estate investment. So think about that. So appreciation, income and investment. And here's the one I like because right now I'm liking the safety net of earlier investments. When you live a full life, and let's hope that we all do, as you approach the second half of that life, you begin to look for safety nets. You look for your retirement account, like how hefty is it from the money that you earned? What's left after you pay your kids' college tuition and help out your grandkids? Like what's left? Most of us are looking at an adequate retirement or an inadequate retirement fund and our house. Wow, that little old piece of real estate is either going to be the thing that we use to leverage ourselves into the retirement we've always dreamed about, or it's going to be that thing that provides us with steady shelter without us worrying about rents going up. It's going to provide us with stability and it's going to provide us with a continuing appreciating asset. So, there are three good reasons to think about investing in real estate, even though you're only 30 and you may not need it right now. Let's get to the cons. These are really just slight challenges. There are anytime you want to get something great, but nevertheless, there are some commitments and responsibilities that you have to undertake if you want to buy real estate. The first thing is it's nice if you have some savings. It's not required. There are ways to actually buy real estate with no money saved, but I don't recommend it because you might want to buy a couch. You might have to fix something in the house you buy. So save a little bit of your money or ask someone to come in and join with you to purchase, or come on, you go to your parents for so many things, you can go to them for this. This is a great investment for them, investing in your real estate future. Imagine that. But if you have some savings, which most young adults who are working do have, great, because your lender is going to want you to have that. It's called reserves. It's reserved for that unexpected thing. Or, if your job changes or you decide to change your job, at least you have some reserves to carry you through that time period and pay your mortgage, because that's the most important thing. Credit worthiness, yes, lenders are going to look at your credit score because that tells them if you are attentive to your bills. Now, I remember being in my 20s and being a little less attentive than I am now. So if your credit score is a little deflated, say it's below 620, that's a little deflated, not horrible. You can still get a loan, but it's going to be a little more costly. So we should talk about that. If you can get your credit score above 620, there are a wide variety of products that you will likely qualify for. And if your credit score is like a lot of young adults, because you guys are smart enough to have read or Credit Karma contacted you and said, hey, you need to keep your score up. If your score is above 700, woohoo, you're going to get good pricing on your loan. So credit worthiness is important. And you have to have some source of income. Yep. If you have left your job because you didn't like this or you didn't like that, or you just decided you wanted to change, or you've decided to open up your own ice cream shop and you've only been in business 1 year and you've not made much money, probably not the time to buy real estate, but certainly the time to think about how to get ready. If you have a stable job, and definitely if you've worked on that job for 2 years, we're in the money. You are a prime candidate to at least talk to a lender to see how much you're qualified for. There is some responsibility when you purchase real estate. When something breaks and you're in your apartment or you rent or you're at your parents' home, let's face it, some people still are, you can just call somebody else for the problem. But then again, you're building nothing for yourself. You're just kind of living under a roof that belongs to somebody else and they're getting all the benefits. So when you get the benefits, when you're investing in yourself, when you own your own real estate, when you're in full control of your real estate and your shelter, there's a little responsibility. If something breaks, you got to fix it. You've got to save a little money for those unexpected future maintenance jobs you might have to do. But before you buy the piece of real estate that you invest in, you have ample opportunity to fully investigate it, uncover almost everything that could possibly be wrong with it, and plan or negotiate a credit to address those things. So that's the good news. You do have to take on debt most often. Sometimes you're buying it all cash. I mean, some of you guys are high rollers, but for most young adults and most old adults, you're buying your real estate with a loan. That means you're going to take on some debt. Don't worry, the lender is going to make sure that you don't take on too much debt. And you know how to do math. If you make $5,000 a month, you don't want to have a mortgage that's $5,000 a month. It should be approximately 50% of your gross income or less. So there are easy ways to determine if you're going to be able to afford this great adventure. What are the basic costs that you need to think about if you decide to purchase real estate? You probably need to have a down payment. I say probably because there are 100% finance loan products. If you have a good monthly income that you can afford to get into without putting anything down, we can even negotiate a credit for your closing costs in some markets. And you're going to need to be able to afford not just the principal mortgage payment, that's the amount you're paying back to the bank that they loaned you, but also the interest, because they're going to charge you some, and the taxes, those are property taxes, unavoidable, and insurance, because you want to make sure if something does go wrong in your property, you're covered by an insurance policy. But guess what? Before you make the full commitment to purchase the real estate, we can investigate all of those options. You're going to know exactly what your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance is going to cost because your lender is going to tell you what that payment's going to be. And you can decide, can I handle that or not? You also want to have, like I said, some money reserved for ongoing maintenance. You've got to pay your utilities, but you had to do that anyway. You may have to make repairs. That again is what you save for. And you could be buying a condo or a townhome, and you could have homeowners association dues. Now, for those of you that don't know what that is, that's a small amount monthly that you pay to a group that you belong to called the homeowners association. And that homeowners association is responsible for maintaining the building that your condominium or townhome is located in, or the community that your townhome or condo is located in. That's who helps to pay for the pool and the tennis courts, or for the security lights, or for the gated entry, all those things and amenities that you may love. So it's not that you're paying the homeowners association dues to just any old body, you're giving your money away. No, you're sharing the cost of having a greater set of amenities than you could afford as an individual. And that's a smart way to get started. And sometimes to just live in general when you don't want the responsibility of taking care of those things individually. Now, we talked about the requirements. I'm going to reemphasize them. You've got to have income, and it's preferable that you have 2 years of a consistent income, either doing the same thing in the same job or in the same business. There's a 50-50 rule, but it's really better if your monthly payment, which your lender is going to tell you what that is less than 50% of your gross monthly income. If you're in your own business, maybe you're an influencer, maybe your money comes in bits and pieces, perhaps you're a contractor or a consultant, that's okay. They're going to take your annual income, typically over 2 years, and they're going to average it out. Now, if you don't report some of the income that you earn on your tax return, that could be a problem because the lender, if you don't have a W-2 income, is going to look at your tax return. So if you're self-employed and maybe your income doesn't quite reflect all of your income, let's talk about that because it might be time for you to ante up, right? All right. Credit scores, your FICO score is going to be important. We talked about that earlier. No big deficiencies. That means no bankruptcies, no foreclosures. If you have either one of those, don't fret. Everything is forgivable at some time. We just may have to wait a little time for it to drop off. Certain loan programs will let those things drop off as quickly as 2 to 3 years. Others are less forgiving. But the last thing is for you to have some reserves, some savings. Have I said that 3 times already? Have some savings? Yes. You want to have some savings, or you want to be able to join with someone who has savings, like your parents, or maybe a friend who saves more, and have some reserves as well as funds for your down payment and closing costs. So that's about the quickest I can cover what's necessary for real estate and why young people, you should think about it. I promise you, thinking about it isn't going to make you buy it, but it is going to open up your mind to opportunities that you shouldn't let pass you by. Because the later in life that you buy real estate, the shorter the amount of time you have for it to appreciate in value. So consult with a realtor. That's your first step. Talk to a realtor. You don't have to be ready. I love to talk to people who are not yet ready and tell them how to get ready and then go with them on that journey, because then they're really well prepared. They're buying with knowledge. They've already been educated. They understand the process. They have the money. They've already established a relationship with a lender. And then we can just go out and strike a lot faster than people who are doing it ass backwards. That means they're out there running around, going to open houses, looking on Zillow, trying to get ready on their own. And then they come to a realtor and they find out they've only got 3 of the 5 pieces that they need. So don't be afraid to talk to a realtor. If they don't want to talk to you because you don't have a pre-approval yet or you're not ready, that's not the right realtor for you anyway. They don't deserve your business. The next step, sometimes simultaneously, you're going to talk to a trusted loan officer. And loan officers, there are different types of lending institutions. I'm going to talk about that in my next video. And you can always give me a call by phone, by text. You can hit me up on Instagram. You can send me a message on LinkedIn. I mean, I'm so easy to reach. And I can refer you to a trusted lender after we have a small conversation about what might be the best option for you. Should you be going to a bank or credit union? Should you be going to a mortgage broker? Which one is going to be most suitable for you based upon your income structure, your savings, and honestly, your personality and your temperament? And then last, this is where most people start. The last thing you want to do after you know what your shopping budget is and who you're going to work with in case you find something that you like, then you and your realtor go to work at the same time. You're online at 3 a.m. I'm sleeping. But I'm up at 5 a.m. You're sleeping. So between the two of us, we can find the perfect property for you. And we can start this journey that I'm going to describe in the next video. So if you like this, please well, not like me, but like this video, and stay tuned for more information. My name's Teresa Mack. Here's my contact information. You can stare at that. No questions, because this isn't one of those kinds of presentations. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. You can phone me, you can email me, or you can go to my website at teresamack.com.